Yeah. That's what I'm wondering. How did they document that?
Live from the Quest headquarters, it's the Northwoods Assembly Bible Study with PB&G, where if you miss a little,
you miss a lot.
Thanks for joining us tonight, everybody, and everybody in the room.
Yeah,
thanks for
extra
being here.
biblical sources.
So if you hear voices,
and
and it's not Gary and I,
and it's not the normal voices you hear,
right, and it's not the voices in your head. Yeah, it's probably coming from here. All right. Again, thank you for tuning in. I have no idea what the food is for Saturday night.
delicious
food. That's what it is. We may finish chapter 14. We will finish chapter 14.
I mean, yes, of course.
Well, I just figured that was a single point, and I kind of hit it, and when that would be enough, and we'd be done for Saturday. So that was good.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. So
is it a sin if you say you're going to finish a chapter and you don't?
Yes, it is. It absolutely is. Yeah.
Yes. Well, it depends on what you hold in your heart.
The breaking,
that's actually
the breaking So we are in the book of John, beginning chapter 18.
Yep.
Tonight, getting into some serious business.
Yeah, getting down to it.
I have the hiccups now. Well, I'm going to hold my breath while you pray for us.
Boo. All right. God bless this study tonight, and as we dig into your word, God, this is stuff we've read before. This is familiar ground, God, but there's so much in it that I'm sure that we can see something new tonight, see something new in what you did for us, how we relate to you. God, just open our eyes and let your spirit teach us. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
All right, we're finished chapter 17.
Oh, I know what the food is.
Gail has at the house, or I don't know. She just says Mexican, so I'm not sure what to make of that.
The menu for Saturday night.
The menu
is Mexican.
There you go.
And
Mexican food.
Mexican and all the things that go with it. So bring sides, and, chips and salsa, and lots of queso and
Russian trucks, mean dogs.
So it's just Mexican out of the blue. Okay, Italian. I don't know. All right then.
That's what it is. Thank you, Gail, for informing
us. I'm looking forward to that. That's my favorite cuisine.
It is.
Yeah,
it is. So
yeah, it's one of the only cuisines that everything tastes kind of the same. It's just in a different shape.
Well,
it's still my favorite.
It is. Everything on the menu at a Mexican restaurant is exactly the same food. They just wrap it different.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
Yeah, but it's good.
Matter. It is. It's
good
every time. Yeah.
Okay, chapter 17. We were talking about Jesus' high priestly prayer. Kind of, he was turning his disciples over to the Father's care as he was getting ready to leave.
Yeah, it was Jesus' prayer for the disciples and, and us.
Right.
For those who follow him. He's praying to the Father for us. And it's amazing. People should read it. You should look at it and, ask yourself, well, here's what I pray. And then find out that Jesus prayed for us and for those, those 12 he sent out. What did he pray for them?
Right.
And there it is. Chapter 17, the whole thing.
Gail, you asked what the food was. You're right. She told me she's going to watch and hold me make comments and haggle us. So I'm watching. I'm going to keep an eye out and see if she continues to.
She's our official heckler.
Yeah, she's going to heckle us. Yeah, heckle. Okay. That's what I'm looking for.
Nice. What did you say?
So now moving into chapter 18, we're moving into the Garden of Gethsemane, the trials, the crucifixion, the passion narrative. They're going to be the last 2 to 3 chapters. 2 chapters really, and then Jesus comes back. There's that whole thing. So that's what we're going to move into now. And it's one thing about this that I think is interesting, and you'll see it as we go in there, is John kind of tells us where they go from the upper room. And then he talks about the betrayal and then off to the trials. And he records more of that than the other ones do. Partially because I think he's there for part of it, the other ones aren't. But then he doesn't record the Garden of Gethsemane stuff at all. And it's interesting to me, like if we both or all three went to something, now we all three wrote our accounts afterward, the details that we thought were important would be different. And that's what we see in the Gospels is Matthew thought, well, hey, I got to bring this up. And John says, well, I'm going to mention this because this is important. And it's not only does it give us a fuller understanding, but it talks to who they are and their personalities, and also the fact that these are eyewitness accounts, and
Yeah.
they see different things as important. It's
Yeah.
genuine.
Well, and yes, and that's very common. People do that. I guess an example would be someone sees something happen with a car. People in a car, and there's witnesses, and one person who is their love is fashion. They may be describing what the people were wearing in great detail, but not notice the car so much. And another person who saw it, who's a real car guy, would be able to tell you, oh yeah, that was a 1974, whatever, this, that, and they, with this extra thing, and they would nail it on that. It's the same story, it's the same incident, but they're gonna see the things that that they see.
Right.
It doesn't make the story any different. It just means they're noticing things that someone else didn't. Yeah.
And if I'm reading someone's account and I'm a fashion guy and I say, oh, there we're that. Okay, I can picture it.
Yes.
You're a car guy. You're saying, oh, he's driving that. I can picture it.
Yes.
So having these different accounts helps us to understand.
It does. And then when you put them all together, you've got an incredible visual reference for everything that happened. It fleshes the whole thing out. So, okay.
My fashion is by order of importance, or order of sequence, by the way. I wear whatever shirt's on the top. That's how I dress in the morning.
It's funny. You wore this. You wore this shirt, and that. I've been walking around with that in my head for a week.
There you go.
Memento Mori.
Keep it up.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
If you're not sure what it means, look it up.
I was just going to ask you.
Remember death.
It means remember death.
Okay.
It's
Marcus Aurelius.
It's Marcus Aurelius. It's a way to kind of keep you focused.
That's literally what it means. But the idea is, remember every day you might not have another. So live it like you might not be here tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah. You're going to live your life better if you remember death. And that was the point. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's not really morbid or anything like that. It's just, so we should probably.
We should.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
Hi,
Carol.
All right. John chapter 18.
See, Carol will get this, but anyone else, most people won't. This is our version of Jimmy Durante and Good Night, Mrs. Calabash, wherever you are. Right?
That. Yeah.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah. Our audience is probably older than we give ourselves credit for. So maybe a lot of people
Gary,
understand that.
we are older than we give ourselves credit for.
Well, definitely.
Okay.
That's for sure.
Okay.
Chapter 18, verse 1. We'll get into it. It's only 10 minutes in, When Jesus had spoken these words, talking about what the prayer that he just prayed and stuff, he went forth with his disciples over the ravine of the Kidron, where there was a garden in which he entered with his disciples. This is the Garden of Gethsemane, but John doesn't even give us the name. The other Gospels do. Now Judas also, who was betraying him, knew the place, for Jesus had often met there with his disciples. This is very close to the home of Martha and Mary, and a lot of stuff kind of happens in this area. This was a spot that Jesus had gone back to pray before, like when he left the temple, when he did the Jedi mind trick and all of a sudden disappeared. He went here. And then in the morning, he'd go back. So this was a common place that they had been going to. So it was not like he was really hiding out here or something. He went where Judas expected him to be. Judas then, having received the Roman cohort and officers from the chief priests and the Pharisees, came there with lanterns and torches and weapons. So the fact now that he received the Roman cohort tells us that this is end game stuff. The chief priests aren't playing games anymore, just trying to get home. They actually went and got a cohort of Roman soldiers, which is, I forget the number. I should have written it down. It's an
a detachment or a regiment of
Roman
Roman
soldiers. Not like they brought 2 soldiers. They brought a company of soldiers.
According to this, it's anywhere from 300 to 600.
Yeah,
it's an entire barracks plus full of Roman soldiers.
Yeah, they came ready for whatever.
Yeah.
They were going to come and get him. Now there's no more playing games.
This wasn't 4 guys with torches under the cover of night. This was we're going to end this, and we're going to end it decisively, and we're going to end it now, tonight. We put this guy down tonight.
Yep. And they're also accompanied by temple guards, which we see later and in other gospels and stuff. So it wasn't just that Roman cohort, but there's temple guards there as well, who kind of take them and handle them, the whole religious aspect and the questioning and stuff.
Mhm.
So the cohort and officers from the chief priests and the Pharisees, those are temple guards. They came with lanterns and torches and weapons. And I just get this in my head. This is a picture of all the villagers coming for Shrek. Just, I don't know.
Yes.
They got their pitchforks and their lanterns, and we're coming to get them.
Yeah.
Adding to the terror of the moment.
Yeah.
It wasn't like it was stealth, like they jumped out. Aha, we got you. You
No.
got
Oh, no.
600 men marching. You could hear
You heard them coming.
20 minutes before they got
Yeah.
there.
You heard them and you saw them coming.
You could have ran.
There was this this glowing rumble in the distance that was coming to get you. Yes.
Yeah, I could just see the disciples. Jesus?
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. No, Jesus?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, remember that boat conversation we had? in Tuscany?
Yeah, it's okay. So verse 4, so Jesus, knowing all the things that were coming upon him, went forth and said, whom do you seek? And they answered him, Jesus the Nazarene. And he said, I am he. And Judas also, who was betraying him, was standing with them. So when he said to them, I am he, they withdrew and fell to the ground. Pause there for a minute, because I was like, what? Why I am? We talked about this in chapter 8, because he uses this in chapter 8, and it's ego eimi is the Greek. And this in Greek, it literally means I am or I exist. And it's the equivalent of the tetragrammaton. He's saying, not I am, he's saying I am.
I am.
Mhm.
Who shall I say sent me?
Tell him I
The
am.
passage
sent
says,
me.
tell them I am. And that's
what Jesus says here.
he is declaring his divinity.
So those that fall to the ground are probably the temple guards, either recognizing who he is or
Yeah.
thinking he's blaspheming, one or the other.
Yes.
This isn't an incidental statement. He's saying something when he says this.
And just imagine, it's God physically declaring who he is, looking at you with human eyes, with a voice, with an expression on his face, with power and authority, looking at you tangibly, saying, I am. Holy cow. It's God declaring himself standing right in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they either were like overwhelmed with, oh no,
Yeah.
or you're blaspheming, like
Yeah.
they were just, like overacting in a soccer match, taken to the ground, like, oh, he fouled me, sort of a thing.
Yeah. But the soldiers say, they say, we come looking for Jesus of Nazareth.
Mhm.
And he's like,
How about God?
God's standing here in front of you.
Right.
You got a little more in your bargain for you, buddy.
He like called them and said, throw in all your chips and let me see your cards. Yeah. We're going to up this to them right now. This is it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Here it is.
Fantastic.
So, and actually, for him to say this right now puts fresh in the minds of the temple guards when they go to the Caiaphas' place. They could say, "Well, he said he was God."
Yes. And that was one of the major
That's what they
they
needed.
used against. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That this now was something that was worthy of his execution.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So he, in a way, he stands up and gives them what he knows they need, so that they can do what he knows they're going to do.
Well, yeah. And he even says, Jesus, knowing all that was going to happen to him, went out and asked them, who is it you want? And then he gives them that answer, because it is, and again, he is in total control of all of this. And now is the time
Mhm.
for him to be taken. This is the time. So he makes the statements, he puts everything in play, because now it's moving to the cross.
Yeah.
This is it. And he releases that and lets it go, and his plan has been fully in effect this whole time. And it's just incredible that this one guy standing there in the garden at night with all of these trained Roman soldiers who have more than once plunged their swords into the belly of an enemy. I mean, they're not afraid. And all of these other powerful men standing around there, and he's still in total control of all of it.
Mhm.
simply armed with his divinity. Of course, you wouldn't need much more than that, really, would you?
No, that's pretty
No.
much all you need.
No, it's well prepared.
Yeah.
But controlling the narrative too, even though
Yes.
it's just for historical purposes.
Yeah.
Who are you seeking?
Yeah.
He knew who they were seeking.
Yeah.
It was a
Yeah.
rhetorical question. It just, okay, can you step up to the plate and actually say that?
Well, and even again, this is he knows this is a story that's going to be told forever, and
Make it cool.
yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah. He's probably at this very moment thinking Brad and Gary are going to be talking about this in 2025 up there in Eagle River. So I'm gonna put this in there so that they can have a good Bible study that night. No, he wasn't, and yet he was. I don't know.
But he makes sure. I mean,
yeah.
he said, I am he.
Yes.
And then in verse 7, he says, therefore he asked him again, whom do you seek? And he said, Jesus the Nazarene. Jesus answered, I told you that I am he. So if you seek me, let these go on their way. To fulfill the words which he spoke of those whom you have given me, I lost not one. Simon Peter, then having a sword, drew it and struck the high priest's slave, and cut off his right ear. And the slave's name was Malchus. So Jesus said to Peter, put the sword into the sheath. The cup which the Father has given me, shall I not drink it? A couple of things here. One, there's two things that Jesus said. First, it was in 1632. He said, the time has come for you to be scattered. And that is what happens right here. And then he said in 1712 in his prayer that I've not lost any of those that you gave to me.
Yeah.
The guy's name given by John, and we'll see as we go forward, it appears, and there's some speculation and stuff here, but it appears that John was familiar with the high priestly family, knew them somewhat, and would have been familiar probably with whoever this slave was, and so he knows him by name. But when we say, I haven't lost one of the ones you've given me, after Peter cuts this guy's ear off in front of whatever it is, 50, 100 Roman soldiers and his temple guards and everything else, they turn around and let him walk away. Say, okay, Peter, you go ahead. We got the guy we want. Without Jesus' intervention, there's no way.
No. Again, this everything happening here seems like Jesus being overwhelmed by Rome, when in essence it is God in total control, manipulating the situation to be exactly what he needs it to be.
Yeah, Peter wasn't part of the package, so Jesus said, okay, you got me, let these guys go.
Yeah.
And despite Peter grabbing the sword and stuff, they still let Peter go.
Yeah, and who knows, with Roman law, that, I mean, could have been a capital offense,
Yeah.
or at least a prison sentence.
Yeah.
At the very least, yeah.
Yeah, Jesus
Well, he
says,
cut
oh,
his
here
ear
you,
off. Well, he fixed it.
Yeah.
I got better.
Right.
oh, here you drop this.
Yeah. And again, this is just, yeah, we read it, and we just kind of read through it, and it doesn't really affect you a whole lot. But that's what I love with you doing this, is we get a chance to slow down and think about it a little bit and kind of put ourselves into it, and kind of time travel back and stand there in the dark and watch this happen in your mind, and all of a sudden the impact is 100 times greater.
Yeah, you're some Roman, guy who doesn't know
Yeah.
anything about all this Jewish custom. You're just going to arrest this guy because he's a rabble rouser, and somebody gets the ear cut off, and you see him just put it back on.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, what did I just see?
Yeah.
But if you've ever cut anything with a sword, you don't cut once.
Yeah.
You only got his ear. You're winding up for number 2.
Yeah.
50
Yeah.
people got their sword halfway out to take
Oh yeah.
on the,
Yeah.
oh, just sheathe them all. Never mind. Fixed. No foul. Nothing to see here.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. And
it's just the mindset of Peter. I mean, to take on 50 guys.
Well, he
the only one
can't-
here with the sword, screw it. I'm going in there. I'm going to take
Yeah.
them all. I got a sword. They're going to know me, but they're going to remember me.
Yeah. Yeah.
they live in a time when wars are fought with swords hand to hand.
Yeah.
And a very common technique with in fighting would be swords. The Roman gladiuses were shorter. They were like a foot, 18 inches, something like that.
Because of the way they fought.
Yeah, but in
compact formation.
But in other battles, the longer swords, and they would take these long, heavy swords, and a very effective tactic would be to strike down on the shoulder of an enemy and break their collarbone, then they wouldn't be able to fight with their sword. They wouldn't be able to use their arm.
Yeah.
So that was a very common way to do it. Who knows? I mean, everybody would have known that, or at least most people would have known that.
Peter's a fisherman. I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
He might have been trying to split his skull, or
Right,
who knows?
anything.
But he wasn't a professional.
Yeah, but he didn't like run him through or
No,
anything.
no, he chopped.
Yeah, he did
got his ear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah.
But if you're Jesus here, he's like, Peter. Do you not think if I wanted this done, I could handle this? I mean,
Yeah.
okay, the guys are gone. Peter, put your sword away. Come on, little buddy. You're not helping.
Right. Right. And he is so patient with
Yeah,
Go
Peter.
over there.
Yeah.
Peter's like that problem child who, he's just overzealous with everything.
Yeah.
He's just very emotional. Yeah.
It's a fisherman thing.
He just gets, he's the one who gets angry and punches people a lot,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And Jesus or John is the one that comes back and it's like, hey, it's okay. Don't press charges.
Yeah.
I'll talk to Peter.
That's right.
It's
That's
like,
right.
okay.
Yeah, that's right. We're bailing you out again, Peter. Well, he deserved it. That
You
kind
know
of
what he
thing.
said?
Yeah.
You're going to say that and get away with it. Yeah. All right. So 12. So the Roman cohort and the command and the officers of the Jews arrested Jesus and bound him and led him to Annas first, for he was father-in-law of Caiaphas, who was high priest that year. Now Caiaphas was the one who had advised the Jews that it was expedient for one man to die on behalf of the people. We remember reading that before. So this is something that the other gospels don't necessarily emphasize as much. They take him to Annas first, who is not the high priest. But it says take him to the high priest's house because he was the high priest. Just like we say President Carter.
Right.
He's not president, but he was president. He'll
Yeah.
always be President Carter.
Right.
So Annas is no longer the high priest. He was the high priest from 6 to 15 AD. He's not anymore, but they take him there to question him first because they can do things there they can't do when Caiaphas questions him.
Right.
They don't have, it's not official. They can ask questions that they're not really supposed to ask. They can do things they're not really supposed to do because
Right.
it's not an official interrogation yet.
Right. It's they're doing things outside the bounds of the law.
They're doing this in the middle of the night
Yeah.
Without a formal trial.
without a formal trial,
Yeah.
away at somebody's house. Yeah, there's nothing appropriate about this.
No, nothing appropriate or legal within the Jewish confines of the law.
Yeah.
This is corrupt. What's happening?
Yeah, they're
legally
trying to get
corrupt.
Jesus to incriminate himself before they take him to trial, so
Yes.
they can say all these people heard him incriminate himself.
Yeah. They're dirty cops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're trying to force a confession here.
Yeah.
They're trying to, this is not normal. This is not appropriate. And the way they says it, Caiaphas was, he was father of Caiaphas, who was the high priest that year. Caiaphas was actually high priest for a lot of years. It wasn't
Yep.
like it changed every year, but it's just the way it says it. He was high priest that year. So verse 15, Simon Peter was following Jesus, and so was another disciple, John, the anonymous disciple. Now that disciple was known to the high priest and entered with Jesus into the court of the high priest. But Peter was standing at the door outside. So the other disciple, who was known to the high priest, went out and spoke to the doorkeeper and brought Peter in. And he doesn't say, hey, it was me, because John never refers to himself. So you can't, I guess, 100% say sure that this is John. But they put everything together. It seems like John was familiar with the high priestly family. So he was able to get in there, and
Yes.
maybe not necessarily with permission of the high priest, but he knew all the servants and stuff, and they let him in. And that's probably part of the reason that John gives us this account, but Matthew doesn't and Mark doesn't. They weren't
Right.
there.
Right. Because he got to go in and Peter couldn't. So John would, like you said, if it was John, which I'm pretty sure it was,
Yeah, it seems that way.
would have been able to give an account of what happened on the other side of those doors.
Right.
Yes.
Everybody else could see the public trial.
Yep.
John got to see the secret private trial.
Correct.
Then a slave girl, verse 17, who kept the door, said to Peter, "You're not also one of the man's disciples, are you?" He said, "I am not." Now the slaves and the officers were standing there, having made a charcoal fire, for it was cold, and they were warming themselves. And Peter was also with them, standing and warming himself. so Peter denies Jesus. The fire gives us context, and it verifies this is something that's happened in the middle of the night. Everybody that's standing around the fire in the daytime, they're off doing their business. Everybody's standing and warming up in the middle of the night because it's cold and it's the middle of the night. And that's mentioned in Mark and in Luke. This verifies that this is an interrogation going on in the middle of the night, in private, by a high priest who's no longer actually the sitting high priest. But it's also one of those little details in a story that isn't really central to the story, but it's something that, one, you'd remember if you were there, and two, John kind of uses this as a way to remind us. Remember that thing that Jesus said about Peter? While he was standing on fire and this happened, John brings the fire into our view. It's like a cutaway scene. Well, Jesus is on trial in here, but then we cut away and then we go to the scene in the other out in the courtyard where we see Peter do this, and then we go back to Jesus. I mean, it's well written.
Well, yeah, and Jesus said at the table, you know, before the night is over, before the cock crows, you're going to deny me 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were making a movie, you'd play the scene where he's by the fire and the girl comes up to him and asks him the question, and Peter says no, and then they would play a soundtrack. They'd zoom in on his face, and then they'd play in the soundtrack the words that Jesus had spoken hauntingly, over the scene. You will deny me 3 times, and the effect of it. Yeah.
19. The high priest then questioned Jesus about his disciples and about his teaching. Jesus answered, I've spoken openly to the world. I always taught in the synagogues and in the temple where all the Jews come together, and I spoke nothing in secret. Why do you question me? Question those who have heard what I spoke to them. They know what I said. Jesus doesn't even mention his disciples. He said, I'm not gonna discuss that with you. They're not part of this.
Yeah.
And they're trying to get him to to confess to some secret teaching. Well, I know you said this there, but then you went and you told the disciples you're going to have a revolution, didn't you? You told them you're king and they need to do this, this, this. And there was no secret teaching for them like that. Jesus taught them the same thing he taught everybody else, just in more depth.
Yeah.
But it's the same message.
Yeah, and he tells them everything I had to say, I spoke openly.
Yeah.
I stood in the Jewish synagogues where you guys hung out. You listened to me. You were always hovering around the back.
They heard him
every time I said stuff. There's everything I said. I didn't hide any of it. I wasn't afraid of it. You know what I said. But again, they're trying to coerce a confession out of him to use against him to get done what they want to get done tonight, and that's kill him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they're just looking for a reason.
They are.
Yeah. So when he had said this, verse 22, one of the officers standing nearby struck Jesus, saying, "Is that the way you answer the high priest?" And Jesus answered him, "If I've spoken wrongly, testify of the wrong. But if rightly, why do you strike me?"
And again, you picture a guy at a table in one of those brick rooms in the police station with the cop in there, and he gives that answer, and then the cop gives him a good backhand, don't be sassy to me,
But I mean, Jesus went through and he did what he had to do, like a lamb before the slaughter. He didn't open his mouth, all that stuff.
Yeah.
This isn't a guy who's cowering in fear.
No, this is a
he
guy.
said, if I said something wrong, tell me what it was. Otherwise, why do you hit me?
Yeah.
Look him in the eye. He said,
oh, this is a guy who is solid as a rock, who is the rock. I mean, you're not going to, he's not rattled. He's not shaken. He's not confused. There's no fear. You got to wonder, this is God himself, and the dude smacks him in the face. And this is someone that God made wonderfully and skillfully in his mother's womb. And he's going to a cross to die for the guy that just smacked him in the face. I don't even know what goes on in your head if you're God and that's happening. You got to be thinking, if you only knew that in a couple hours from now, I'm going to bear the weight of the very thing you did to me. That slap that that hit that you just made, I'm going to lift the weight of that sin right off you. And just a couple hours on the cross, and you don't even know. You don't even know it.
No. I mean, knowing what you know, and you look at someone and you want the best for them and you work hard, you try to get them in, and you see them fall short, you see them fail, you fall down, and how disappointed you are in that. And, you've invested so much and it just bothers you. It eats at you, and you just wish better for them. Imagine being Jesus looking at these people.
I know.
I mean, what?
There's got to be an incredible compassion filling him as he is walking the last few hours of his life on earth. He's walking them out, looking at these people in these very intense, very intimate moments with these people, very emotional, and he's given his life for them and he loves them. And it's got to be crazy. What the heart and the head of God right now. It's just incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. So Annas sent him bound to Caiaphas, the high priest. So now he goes to the actual sitting high priest. Annas decides, you know what? We're not going to get anywhere with this. So just send him on. Now Simon Peter was standing and warming himself. So they said to him, "You're not one of his disciples, are you?" He denied it. He said, "I'm not." You see, and this is a little thing in there. I don't know, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but you see the way it's always worded is they don't say, "Hey, are you one of his disciples?" They says, "You're not one of those, are you?" It's like they're almost leading him to say, "Oh, no, I'm not. So Peter just kind of goes along and said, "Oh, no, I'm not. No. You must be thinking somebody else."
Yeah.
But there again, we have number 2, Peter's denial.
Well, and why do you think he was he said that? Why do you think he did that?
Well, I mean, a lot of reasons. I mean, one is if I tell them now, I'm not going to see what happens. 2 is if I tell them now, they're gonna crucify me.
Yes, I think that's a big part of it. And going back to what happened during the arrest in the garden when he cut the guy's ear off, right?
Yeah.
And he gets away with it. When he's thinking, how did I get away with that? I shouldn't have. They arrested Jesus. Why am I out here? I mean, I did worse things than him. And if they're going to get him, they're surely coming for me next.
Yeah.
Right. And he's got to be afraid that he's going to end up arrested. And at this point, he's the guy who's all hat and no cattle. He had a big mouth, but he just didn't have the heart, the guts to back it up right now. Fear overwhelmed him. And the kind of fear that is overwhelming Peter, you would think is the kind of fear that a normal man would have if you were Jesus. You would have that kind of fear, knowing something really bad is coming. And yet, like you said, he's there and he is absolutely calm as a cucumber. That fear that Peter has, that Jesus has none of that.
No,
it's just stark.
And maybe Peter's even thinking, I don't want to miss this, because at any minute here, Jesus is going to blow the doors off this place. He might just be thinking, I know the time's coming. I want to be here when it happens. Leave me alone. I'm watching. Yeah. Just
go away, and stuff's happening here. Leave me alone. I want to see what's going down.
Yeah. But either way, it's not until on the next one, it says in 26, one of the slaves of the high priest, being a relative of the one whose ear Peter cut off, said, "Did I not see you in the garden with him?" Peter then denied it again, and immediately a rooster crowed. And that moment is even more highlighted in other gospels. But when that rooster crows is when Peter's like, "Oh, wait a minute. The rooster, that's 3. Peter gets it. And then he's like, "Oh no, what did I do?"
That sound of that rooster, cock-a-doodle you.
Yeah.
3 times, Peter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's when Peter, recognizes what he's done. So then they led Jesus from Caiaphas. See, that's another thing that John, other spots we hear more about what happens in front of Caiaphas. John just skips right over that. He tells us what happens in front of Annas, and then he says, "I only went to Caiaphas," and then they take him to the Praetorium from there.
Yeah, and that's filled in other accounts.
Yeah, it is. But John, he already gave us this part of it, which was important to him. So then they led Jesus from Caiaphas into the Praetorium, and it was early, and they themselves did not enter into the Praetorium so that they would not be defiled, but might eat the Passover. The Praetorium was where there's the headquarters of the military governor. His actual headquarters was in Philippi, Herod the Great's palace, but he had like a temporary headquarters set up when he was in Jerusalem, which he happened to be right now. Would have most likely been either the Fortress Antonia,
Yeah.
or Herod's palace on the western wall, one or the other. Not sure where, but that's
Yep.
where he would have gone. So they take him there, and it was early. The governors they would start their business basically at like dawn, so they could get everything done and have the rest of the day to do whatever they wanted to do.
And didn't the fortress of Antonia overlooked the actual Jewish temple in the
Yeah, it
courtyard?
was right there. Yeah,
Because
yeah, that's
they-
where they take Paul in
Yeah.
Acts when the Jews tried to get him when he's preaching at the temple.
Yeah.
They take him into the Fortress Antonia
Yeah.
to protect him.
Yep, because the main purpose of them being there was to keep control of the Jews.
Right.
Mhm.
So that was their job.
Yeah.
Got to keep the Jews under control because, that's
Mhm.
our deal. So yeah.
And this is kind of funny. This is ironic, I guess. They themselves, talking about the high priests and stuff, they themselves did not enter the praetorium so that they would not be defiled but might eat the Passover.
Yep.
These guys who are doing everything they can do to get Jesus, an innocent man, crucified, won't go into the praetorium because they're afraid they'll be unclean and then they won't eat the Passover and then they wouldn't be good Jews.
Well, it's a Gentile area, and them crossing into it would make them ceremonially unclean and unable to participate in the Passover. Well, yeah. And so
Well, yeah, but God forbid I should make myself unclean while I endeavor to crucify the Son of God unjustly.
well, yeah, exactly. Right? These guys.
Probably
Well-
why you got the brood of viper stuff. There was still
Yeah.
the little
Oh yeah.
seven
Oh yeah.
of the
Jesus
earlier
had nothing
comics.
good to say about these guys.
White
Nothing.
tombs full of dead men's bones.
Nothing. They were supposed to be the leaders of his people, the people that Jesus comes to save, the people that he spends his time with, that he grows up with, that he's a part of them, and in everywhere he goes, in the crowds, in his life, in the temple. All these people that he is loving are the very people that these scumbags are supposed to be watching over and guiding, and they're not the least bit interested in it. They're just in it for themselves.
Mhm.
They're not in it for God or the people or anybody. They're just vile. And like you said, unbelievable. They're more worried about, oh, I want to be able to have the Passover meal with my friends. I'm not going to go over there. What?
Yeah, there is no heart aspect to this worship at all. It's all, well, we got to keep the law. The law says this, do this, do this, do this, like a lawyer following procedure.
Well, yeah, it's like they're soulless.
Mhm.
It's just, yeah. It's like you're some sort of a psychopath. You just no feeling at all other than your own.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I think we're in chapter 18, Carol, and she said chapter 8. So we're in chapter 18. And then we just did verse 28.
Yes, chapter 18, the book of John. We just did. Oh, we just finished.
Just did 28. Yep.
Yep, 28.
Yep. So now
So
we're going
we're
on to
in-
29.
We're in John 18, 28, ready to hit verse 29.
29.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Therefore, Pilate went out to them and said, "What accusation do you bring against this man?" And they answered and said to him, "If this man were not an evildoer, we would not have delivered him to you." So I'm sure Pilate loves the fact that it's like, okay, I got to get up and go out of the praetorium to talk to these guys because they won't come in here.
Yeah.
So he says, "All right,
Now what
what's
do
the
they want?
charge? What's the charge?" And the way they word it, what accusation do you bring? They answered, "If this man were not an evildoer, we would not have delivered him to you."
Yeah, I love that.
It's like-
What charges are you bringing against him? Well, come on. If he weren't guilty of something, do you think
Yeah.
he would have brought? Yeah, it's like that's not what they
No,
asked.
they're saying, "Well, we don't really have a charge, but we want to crucify him."
They answered this the way a politician would answer
Exactly.
a question.
Yeah, Pilate
with
says,
a
"What's the charge?"
non-answer.
And they're like, well,
There's been allegations made.
yeah." They're hoping that
Yeah.
Pilate will just say, "Okay, do what you want to do." you
Yeah,
know?
they're just trying to, again, they're throwing the guilty thing out there, hoping it'll stick,
Yeah.
whether it's true or not, which again sounds exactly like a politician.
Yeah.
If you just say it long enough, somebody will believe it.
Pilate's
That's
not
what they're
supposed to
doing.
ask questions.
No.
That's not what they want here.
No.
So 31. So Pilate said to them, "Take him yourselves and judge him according to your law." And the Jews said to him, "We're not permitted to put anyone to death."
Oh, they played their card. They
Yeah,
showed their hand.
that's what they want. To fulfill the word of which Jesus spoke, signifying by what kind of death he was about to die.
So their reason for not just judging him themselves, because again, the Romans are looking at this like, well, this is a Jewish problem. What are you coming to us for?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
This is a Jewish problem that you should deal with yourself within your courts, your laws, with your temple guards. This is your guy. You deal with him. And their response was what?
So we can't. Well, we can't, and
Why
we
can't
can't
they?
put him to death.
Right. We can't put him to death in our system, but if we can get him into your system, you could kill him for us.
Right.
That's what they're doing.
And then it says to fulfill the word of Jesus which he spoke, signifying by what kind of death he was about to die.
Yeah.
Now that's important because one, they did have a special exemption that if someone blasphemed their temple, they were allowed to put them to death. That's why it mentions in Mark 14:57 that they tried to accuse Jesus of that. If they had somebody give false testimony on how Jesus said he was going to destroy the temple, but it didn't pan out, because then they could put him to death.
If he blasphemed.
Yeah. But according to Jewish tradition, it was accursed. It was not even consideration to let somebody die by hanging. If the Jews put him to death, he would have to be stoned, which is what they did with Stephen in Acts 6.
Right.
So the fact that he says Jesus said what kind of death he was going to die means that Jesus knew he was going to be put to death by the Romans, not by the Jews.
Yeah. And again, the Jews don't want any blood on their hands. They want to be able to say, we didn't kill him, the Romans did. We didn't circle around him and smash his head in with rocks. That wasn't us. We didn't do that. We took him to Rome, and Rome said, well, and then it was Rome's problem. And they're going to walk away, thinking that they're guilt-free and stain-free. And it's just evil. And again, it's just the worst kind of religious politics happening here. It's crazy.
Yeah. But Jesus knew ahead of time that he was going to be put to death because of the chief priests, but by the Romans.
Yes.
In the crucifixion, he prophesied that crucifixion, and that proves that
he's in
he
charge.
knows what's going on here.
Yeah,
this is
because
no accident.
you're absolutely right. Because but for all intents and purposes, if this had played out logically, he would have been stoned by the Jews. If that was the way he was gonna, the Jews would have done it. That's what they would have done. But no, this thing twists and turns because this is how it's going down, and God's in control of all of it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
But
crazy.
you look at the Old Testament with Isaiah too. What was that? 750 years approximately before you'll be accursed of all.
Yeah.
They'll hang him on a tree.
Yes.
They described crucifixion
Yes.
400 years before it was invented.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it was already prophetically proclaimed that that's the way the Messiah would die back Old Testament.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, the Jews would have screwed up and stoned them. That would have ruined the whole narrative.
Yeah.
It would have. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, but it would if they had a chance. But
Yeah.
they're not in control of this thing.
It's like God knew what was going to happen.
Exactly.
Well, he did.
You know?
And again,
Exactly.
there's so much with all of this that blows your mind that we can't understand. But when God was in the throes of creation, the plan of salvation was already in place when he did that. The plan to save us was already done before we even were lost. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah. Well, look at back in the wilderness, and they get bit by the snakes, and here's the bronze serpent lifted up, and all the
Yes.
things that.
Yep. If we were watching a movie, we'd call those Easter eggs.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But again, and I say it from the pulpit, he gives away the ending in the beginning. He does it over and over and over. But because we're on this side, at the time, all those people were on this side of it, you don't know.
Right.
But now for us who are on the other side of the crucifixion, we can look back at that and go, holy cow. It's amazing. So it's kind of cool for us being on this side of it,
Well, yeah.
because, oh my gosh, the revelation of all of that is just, wow.
Yeah, and we could pretend we're smart because we see it, and we weren't there beforehand when we wouldn't have seen it either.
Doesn't make us smart. Doesn't make us smart.
No,
at
but we
all.
can pretend.
We
Oh
can.
yeah, I saw
We
that.
can. And by the way, we do. We do
Wow.
pretend.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm going to pretend, I'm not going to pretend I'm dumb.
No, no.
Right?
That's true. You got
Yeah.
me there. All right.
All right. Therefore, Pilate entered again into the praetorium and summoned Jesus and said to him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" And Jesus answered, "Are you saying this on your own initiative, or did others tell you about me?" Pilate said, "I'm not a Jew, am I? Your own nation and chief priests delivered you to me. What have you done?" And Jesus said, "My kingdom is not of this world. If my kingdom were this world, then my servants would be fighting so that I would not be handed over to the Jews. But as it is, my kingdom is not of this realm." This is the one thing that this is the one loophole they end up passing on to, because this is the only thing that really, to Pilate, maybe he would care about, is if someone was making claims against Caesar, Pilate would have to do something about it. So he's like, "Are you king of the Jews?" Jesus like, "That kingdom's not of this world."
Yeah,
If
because
it was, I
again,
wouldn't be standing here.
well, and a declaration of king would have been then a threat to Rome,
Right.
and then Rome would get involved.
Yeah.
And that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to figure out, do we need to get involved here, or do I just need to kick it back to the Jews?
Yeah.
Right.
So that's why when he asked that, Jesus said, "Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Or did somebody tell you to ask me?"
And he calls him inside where he can have a private
Yeah.
conversation with him outside of everybody else to try
Yeah.
to get the truth. He's just looking for the truth here. It's the
Yeah.
middle of the night, and this is crazy stuff is going down. And he says, Pilate then went back inside the palace and summoned Jesus in. So he goes in with them, and then he asks him, "Hey, are you the king of the Jews?"
Mm-hmm.
Because the next thing you say is gonna make a difference for you.
is.
What are you
Yeah.
gonna say?
Yeah.
Yeah, and his response is, and again, I love it. He answers a question with a question, and he does this all through Scripture.
Yeah.
Are you the king of the Jews? And Jesus' response is that your idea,
Mm-hmm.
or did someone else talk to you about me? Is that your idea? Did you think of that yourself, or did you hear that from somebody else about me?
Yeah.
And again, this is not only profoundly philosophical, but it's legal. Like, is this hearsay?
And it is. Jesus has reminded them, this is just what they're telling
Yeah.
you.
Did I say that? Or is this hearsay from somebody else?
Uh-huh.
Is this just something you heard about me? And again, in a court of law, even back then, you needed a couple of witnesses to
Yeah.
condemn somebody. So he's saying, is this just, so yeah.
Yeah. So Jesus responds, and tells him, "Well, yeah, I'm a king, but, my kingdom's not of this world."
Yeah.
He doesn't dodge it. He actually speaks the plain truth, but to Pilate, it probably seems like a baffling mystery what he says.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And so he's saying my kingdom is from another place.
Mhm. Yeah.
Which shouldn't have been a threat to Rome then.
And he doesn't say of another place, another country. It's not of this world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pilate's probably thinking, "This guy's a loon."
Right. Exactly. This sounds like a guy who took a blow to the head, which he actually did earlier.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So 37, therefore Pilate said to him, "So you are a king?" And Jesus answered, "You say correctly that I'm a king. For this I have been born, and for this I've come into the world, to testify to truth. Everyone who is of the truth hears my voice."
So it's as if now there's two people of power and authority now standing
Yeah.
in the room. He's admitted, yes, I am a king, but I'm not a king from here or of here.
Yeah.
And so you're right to call me a king. You're a powerful man, and so am I.
Yeah. But Jesus is saying, my kingdom is not about power.
No.
It's about truth.
Yes. For this I came into the world, to testify to the truth.
Mhm.
So and again, this shouldn't be a threat to Rome. But then what is Pilate's response in verse
It's
38?
dismissive. Pilate said to him, "What is truth?" And when he had said this, he went out again to the Jews and said to them, "I find no guilt in him."
Yeah.
Truth is irrelevant.
Yeah. Well, and again, this is coming from a pagan leader,
It is.
and this is the way he thinks. And Pilate's not an idiot.
No.
Pilate's a smart man. He understands politics. He's been in rooms with smart men before, powerful men before. He knows how politics and all of that stuff works. He's a part of that whole system, and yeah. So he's like, what is truth?
Yeah.
It could be whatever I want it to be today or whatever I want it to be tomorrow.
It's whatever advances me.
Yeah, it's exactly right.
And makes it look like I'm advancing Caesar.
That's
Because
right.
If you were any sort of a government politician in Rome, your head was always not far from the chopping block.
Right.
So you always had to make sure you were supporting Rome, but then trying to get ahead of everybody else at the same time.
And again, he's thinking, you know what? It's the middle of the night. I understand how politics work. My job is to keep the Jews calm.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy is super popular with the Jews. He's drawing huge crowds. And if I do something stupid with him and that stirs up the Jews and trouble comes from that, who's Rome going to ask to talk to? Me.
Yeah,
and they're going to look at me and say, dude, you're not doing your job.
Uh-huh.
So he understands this. I mean, this is just in a snap in his head. Immediately, he's like, yeah, we just need to end this tonight and I'll go home. There's nothing wrong with this guy.
Yeah, there's nothing here.
Just all go
There's
home and go
here.
to bed and
it's over.
Yeah.
I said, no, find no guilt in him. Verse 39. But you have a custom that I release someone for you at the Passover. Do you wish then that I release you, the King of the Jews?
Yeah. So his goal right now is to just keep the status quo, keep everybody calm, no muss, no fuss, no drama, send everybody home, get done with this so that he can just get on with his life without any trouble from his boss.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So they cried out again, saying, not this man, but Barabbas. Now, Barabbas was a robber. And if you read Mark, he goes a little bit more into detail into Barabbas's charges.
right.
Not only was a robber, but he was one of the zealots, like a political group who he was an insurrectionist and he committed murder in that cause.
Yes.
And that's why he was in prison. So it's kind of ironic that the guy that they asked for is a guy who is guilty of murder in insurrection against Rome. And that's who Pilate releases when they put Jesus there in false charges of insurrection against Rome. They free somebody that really did it and crucify somebody that didn't. There's your truth.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and that custom, I don't know, nobody seems to know where that custom came from, but it's reported in various extra biblical sources too, that they had this custom that at the Passover, they would get one prisoner released to them.
Right. And again, that was a custom that was designed again to just help keep the Jews happy so that they would go home and say, those Romans are okay. They let one of our guys go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it helps them to just, takes the edge off and then they can live in peace.
Rome was obviously the political power, but they didn't stay an empire for over 1,000 years accidentally. They knew how to use the carrot and the stick. I mean, they were very good at controlling people either by bread and circus,
Yes.
I mean, keeping them entertained, keeping them fed, and keeping them afraid all at the same time.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. So
they are going to ask for Jesus' crucifixion and get Barabbas released.
Yeah.
We'll probably stop there because that's beginning chapter 19.
Yes. Yes, indeed. All right. Wow. There's only 21 chapters.
Yeah, we got 3 left.
Okay.
I was thinking before we only had 3 left, but I forgot 18, 19,
Yeah.
20. So now we got 3 left.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll leave it there. We'll pick up chapter 19 next week.
Yes.
And we'll have you close with prayer. Again, thank you, everybody, for tuning in tonight. And Saturday, again, it's Mexican food. Come on in. Hang out with us. You are cordially invited. So, all right.
All right.
Close us with prayer.
God, tonight, as we get ready to go home, just thank you for your word in this study, obviously, and then just, God, for what you did. I mean, I don't know how many times we've said that, But I don't know, we can never really say it enough or never really fully comprehend what it took and what it meant and everything else, God. So just thank you for this gift you've given us, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. All right. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in tonight. And good night, Carol. We'll see you Saturday.